Hey everyone, and welcome to What Was That with Gabe Sanchez. As the midterm election races intensify, so are Trump's rallies. And if you thought Trump's other rallies were bizarre, just wait till you hear this fascist QAnon word vomit. Like most of Trump's rallies, Trump will invite guest speakers to spread hate and lies from their fascist soapbox.
He's the one we elected in 2016, the one we re-elected in 2020, who won the election, by the way. Oh yeah, he won. He did. That's Donald J. Trump.
And just like a toxic ex who can't move on, Marjorie Taylor Greene has made her whole personality about Trump and the 2020 election. Well, that and being anti-Semitic, which makes sense considering the theme of this rally. And since the rally took place in Ohio, another guest speaker was sexual abuse accomplice Jim Jordan, which is surprising considering his past attempts at speaking.
I'd have to go. I spoke with him that day after. I think after. I don't know if I spoke with him in the morning or not. I just don't know. I'd have to go back and. I don't know that when those conversations happened.
But Jim Jordan got on his fascist soapbox and really tried his hardest. Well, sorta. If only someone had given him a soapbox to stand on. Anyway, let's get to Trump's speech. I bet you're wondering how he started the rally.
Murders, shootings, stabbings, rapes, carjackings are skyrocketing.
Well, I guess we shouldn't be surprised that Trump immediately resorted to fear-mongering. Also, can we just focus on the Newsmax chyron for just a sec? Trump is on stage trying to scare supporters into having a heart attack, while Newsmax is trying to sell them a heart test. Let's see what else Trump had to say.
Our country is being invaded. It's an invasion by millions of illegal aliens from all over the planet.
And it's this type of hateful, racist, and xenophobic rhetoric that Trump uses to drive a wedge between Americans and everyone else. AKA, if you ain't white, you ain't right. And it's echoed even further by right-wing entertainers like Tucker Carlson.
In political terms, this policy is called the Great Replacement, the replacement of legacy Americans with more obedient people from faraway countries.
This us versus them mentality is nothing more than a racist conspiracy theory that motivates mass shooters to go out and solve an imaginary problem that Republicans have created, especially when you have Trump talking about caravans of drug dealers, rapists, and murderers pouring into our country.
So, well, you won't take these horrible convicts and other people that you released into our country illegally and you put them in caravans. I came up with that term, by the way. That was my term, like fake news and lots of other terms we came up with.
I think Webster's dictionary might want to have a word. Speaking of making stuff up in the border, Trump claims that he completed the border wall.
And completely finished our original border wall plan. It was all done, and then we said, let's add 200 miles more.
This is just flat out wrong. Trump was never close to finishing the border wall. Only 80 miles of new barriers were built, with the rest being replacement structures. And now, at least $250 million worth of Trump's impenetrable and powerful wall is just a pile of rusting steel. Not to mention, parts of the wall along the Arizona border were torn apart by a summer monsoon. The monsoon literally blew floodgates off their hinges. And don't even get me started on Trump trying to lobby $1.28 billion for the Build the Wall scam. Yeah, the very same one that Steve Bannon was indicted for fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy. But, you know, just a criminal helping out a fellow criminal. And speaking of criminals, Trump had this to say about drug dealers and human traffickers.
And I'm calling for the death penalty for drug dealers and human traffickers.
Wow. First off, that is really bad news for Trump's son, Don Jr. And second off, Trump just called for the death penalty of Texas Governor Greg Abbott and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Abbott and DeSantis are turning innocent migrants into political pawns by trafficking them to blue states as a way to own the libs. So now, Bexar County Sheriff Javier Salazar has launched a criminal investigation into Ron DeSantis for flying 48 migrants from San Antonio to Martha's Vineyard. And not only that, but the migrants who were flown to Martha's Vineyard have now filed a class action lawsuit against Ron DeSantis and other Florida officials. Oh, I almost forgot. Under Trump's proposed policy, Matt Gaetz would also get the death penalty, which makes Matt Gaetz asking Trump for a pardon for sex trafficking a little awkward. During the rally, Trump took an opportunity to whine about being the victim, claiming that the January 6 witnesses are being blackmailed by the government to say very bad things about Trump.
The unhinged persecution of me and my staff, and they go into people that know me and they threaten them with jail time. Unless you say something bad about Trump, they're threatening them. These people are sick.
And like all of Trump's claims, they are never backed up with any evidence, but MAGA doesn't care. they will attack when ordered, the same way they did on January 6th. Most recently, members of the 1776 Restoration Movement flooded the veteran suicide hotline with bogus calls demanding the release of January 6 rioters. And make no mistake, this disgusting stunt pulled by Patriots is a direct result of Trump's speech. And in the same way Trump attacks migrants, he labels anyone who isn't MAGA as a threat. Here he is targeting J.D. Vance's opponent, Tim Ryan.
He recently called on his supporters to kill the MAGA movement. He wanted to kill. Did you see that? We have to kill MAGA. Kill MAGA! We better be careful, and we better be strong, and we better be smart, because these people are coming after you, and it's not going to be good.
When it comes to Trump's rallies, he's usually there to brag and talk about himself, but this time, he was there to support J.D. Vance. But this is also interesting because J.D. Vance had previously said that Trump was America's Hitler.
J.D. Vance is going to clinch the Senate. Yeah, he said some bad things about me, but that was before he knew me, and then he fell in love.
At least Trump got J.D. Vance's name right this time. I mean, not like in May when Trump tried to endorse J.D. Vance over Josh Mandel, but instead, he endorsed someone named J.P. or J.D. Mandel.
That's what they're waiting for. They're waiting for one race. You know, we've endorsed Dr. Oz. We've endorsed J.P., right? J.D. Mandel.
And they say Biden is the one with cognitive issues? Oh, and in case anyone forgot about the infamous P-tape, Trump is here to remind you.
In the phony Steele dossier, it was all phony. How'd you like to be me and go home and explain that one to my wife? Darling, it wasn't true. I swear it wasn't. Remember that one? With the hookers from Russia.
Here at What Was That? Me, myself, and I got a sneak peek of the Trump P-tape. And, after watching, I immediately did this. And as soon as my eyes recovered, I was able to watch the rest of Trump's speech, which took an alt-right turn into QAnon territory.
And a Department of Justice that refuses to investigate egregious acts of voting irregularities and fraud. And we have a president who is cognitively impaired and in no condition to lead our country.
Wait, what was that?
And in no condition to lead our country.
Okay, not sure if you heard that song playing underneath Trump's speech, but that is the QAnon theme song, WWG1WGA, which stands for Where We Go One, We Go All. Trump is now fully embracing QAnon, and in response, his MAGA cult raised their hands to him in a weird salute with a number 1. Actually, hold on, I've seen this before. Zoom in. Let's enhance. Cross-analyze with archive photo. Oh my God. Just as I suspected, MAGA is just a bunch of Nazis, and Trump is riling them up in order to incite more violence if he doesn't get his way. Here's the thing. Trump should probably focus less on the Nazi QAnon rallies and more on the pressing issues, like New York Attorney General Letitia James filing a $250 million lawsuit against Trump and his crime family for allegedly defrauding lenders, or the classified documents case at Mar-a-Lago, or the Georgia elections case, or I don't know, a handful of other lawsuits that are coming his way. Just a thought. Well, I'm Gabe Sanchez, and this has been What Was That?